Jana Duggar's kitchen reno is finally complete. See the before-after of her home with new husband. Jana Duggar is showing off her brand new kitchen. The Counting On star, 34, offered an inside look at the process of installing all the finishing touches in her kitchen that she's been remodeling with her new husband, Stephen Wissmann, in a YouTube video shared on Sunday, October 20. She kicks off the update by showing footage that was filmed before she tied the knot with Wissmann this past August, including the cabinetry that's just starting to take shape, and explains how their current makeshift kitchen works. "So since our kitchen looks like this," she says as she pans the camera around the empty space, "this becomes our kitchen." She lands on their temporary setup that's equipped with a griddle, coffee maker, and utensils. "Cooking my food here, and we end up washing all the dishes in here," she adds, making her way into the bathroom where she washes and dries everything. "So ready to have an actual working kitchen again. Hopefully we'll get it done within a week or so." The video then cuts to her filling in big gaps above the cabinets with wood filler as she opens up about the renovation process. "They say do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. It is so true. When I'm working on projects like this, I really feel like I'm in my element. I love the challenge of broadening my skill set and figuring out how to do new things." She continues, "All the work and effort feels extra rewarding this time because this is going to be the home Stephen and I will live in together once we're married. It doesn't get any better than that." Before painting the cabinets, Duggar explains how her now husband has done commercial painting jobs in the past, so he's skilled at using a sprayer. She also notes how his parents came over to assist them, and that having those extra hands really helped to speed up the process. The perfect color they picked out, Duggar previously noted, was accessible beige. Once the drawers and cabinets are all painted, Duggar and her husband get to work installing them in the empty spaces. "I think we make a great team," she captioned the clip in white text, followed by a pink heart emoji. The countertops arrive and get secured in place, and Duggar unveils the modern and simple gold hardware she's going to put on the drawers. She then reflected on how arduous the process of renovating a home is, but how it's going to be worth it in the long run. "Putting in a whole new kitchen has definitely been a huge undertaking, especially since we've been doing so much of the work ourselves with the help of family and friends. But it's so rewarding to see this project coming together," she says. "I imagine it will be so much more meaningful to use this space in the years to come, remembering all the hard work and elbow grease we put into making this space what it is." The newlywed also added, "I am really looking forward to decorating this and turning this into a home. I just want everything to feel cozy and inviting. I'm really looking forward to that part of the project. I can hardly wait to see how it all comes together." Duggar, who is the eldest daughter of Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar's 19 children, first revealed to People that she was relocating to Wissmann's hometown in Nebraska from her native Arkansas after the pair wed in August. "He has a little house we bought that we've been fixing up and getting pulled together, and so that's been fun," she told People at the time. Did Jason Duggar break Duggar rules on honeymoon in Greece? Fans are asking if Jason Duggar went on a honeymoon in Greece. They also speculate that he and his new bride may have broken some Duggar rules. And no, it's not the ones that you think. In early October, Jason Duggar married Maddie Grace. Fans have some accusations, and perhaps misunderstandings, about Jason's postnuptial plans with his new wife. On October 3, Jason Duggar married Maddie Grace. The two had only been engaged for a couple of months, and had only been in a relationship, or close enough to one, by Duggar standards, for 3 months before that. The sprawling guest list included many Duggars, so too did the wedding party. Jedidiah Duggar served as Jason's best man. James Duggar, Justin Duggar, and Jackson Duggar were groomsmen. Johanna Duggar, Jennifer Duggar, Jordan Duggar, and even little Josie Duggar were among Maddie's bridesmaids. While sharing the news of their wedding, Jason Duggar and his new wife Maddie Grace revealed their honeymoon plans. It's unclear where the idea of them embarking upon a honeymoon in Greece originated. but it is not true. However, it's not far off. Joe Duggar and his wife, Kendra, had their honeymoon in Greece. And Jason and Maddie planned their honeymoon for a different Mediterranean peninsula, Italy. Most of the Duggars have broken some of the strict fundamentalist rules that Jim Bob once espoused. In some cases, the rules were just for show. Sensational restrictions about skirts and pants were, perhaps, a smokescreen for more abusive practices within the cult. However, some of the rules are very serious. The Duggars went to great lengths to isolate themselves from any secular media. Only some of the Duggar adults have branched out into openly enjoying aspects of the society that their family teaches is overrun by the actual literal devil's influence. Jason recently shared on social media that he was, it seems, watching a film that the Duggars would never endorse. As users on Reddit recently discussed, Jason Duggar was watching Mamma Mia. Mamma Mia is a musical featuring the music of ABBA, with the beloved European pop songs woven into a story. In addition to ABBA's music consisting of bangers and, arguably, numerous gay anthems, the story itself is totally at odds with the Duggar cult. The story hinges upon a mother and daughter where neither of them know the identity of the girl's biological father, because her mother might have conceived with one of a handful of men. Not an unrealistic scenario, but absolutely unthinkable in the Duggar world. One of the central tenets of the Duggar brand of Christian fundamentalism is establishing the father and husband as the ruler of one's family. Their God comes first, but it is the husband and father who essentially owns his wife and children as property until the children marry. Jason can set his own rules for his family, including how his wife may dress. The rules of this horrific cult do strongly suggest specific levels of modesty, and so much more. But up until Jason gets called to account by the family's church or financially pressured by Jim Bob, he and Maddie could theoretically watch whatever they like. Jason Duggar is a 24-year-old man, but it's possible that he only gained the freedom to choose which family musicals he views by becoming married. It's also possible that he's quietly viewed other worldly media before this, of course. Jana Duggar opens up about postpartum depression. Do I even want to be here? Jana Forsyth Nee Duggar grew up on reality television as the 9th child of Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar on TLC's 19 Kids and Counting. Today, Jana has a family of her own, husband Austin Forsyth and kids Gideon, 6, Evelyn, 4 and Gunnar, 1. And she's finally telling her story on her own terms, including her struggle with postpartum depression. On a recent episode of the Unplanned podcast, Jana described her emotional struggle after the birth of her youngest child. With Gunnar, I had a super hard postpartum, and it was like the darkest time of my life, said Jana while tearing up. It wasn't her first experience with postpartum depression, but it was the most intense. After the birth of her oldest, Gideon, she felt like she was in a fog, like I just don't feel myself. That lasted about 6 months. Then when she was 20 weeks pregnant, Jana discovered that her daughter, Annabelle, didn't have a heartbeat. After that loss, Jana had what she described as baby blues for another 6 months. Her postpartum experience with Evelyn was not too bad. Jana attributed her severe depression after Gunnar's birth to the fact that she hadn't been taking care of herself as well during this pregnancy in terms of getting the right type of food, vitamins, and rest. On top of the physical changes after her pregnancy, Jana said relationships with her siblings and parents were super hard at that time. Plus, her sisters Jinger Duggar Vuolo and Jill Duggar Dillard had both published books that caused her to reconsider her upbringing and her faith. My whole Christianity was always a checklist, said Jana, who thrived on following the standards she grew up with. My parents never preached one time that you do all of these things and then God will accept you, but that's how I took it personally. She never wanted to question her faith, but it all came crumbling down postpartum. Initially after Gunnar's birth, Jana felt fine. The postpartum stuff did not hit until probably 2.5 months postpartum, and then everything crumbled after that, she explained. I would wish that on No Mom, but I know a lot of moms go through it. For the better part of a year, I just had a hard time getting out of bed, had a hard time just doing what I need to do, and then spiritually, on top of that, it was really hard, she said. I kept thinking I should have it all together. I'm seasoned. I shouldn't be struggling with this, she added tearfully. I had to work through just from rock bottom, like, okay, where am I gonna go from here? I just kind of wanted to sulk in it for a while. But I knew that that was not healthy for our marriage, for my kids. She added, I finally got to a point I was like, I'm not doing good. I'm struggling. Do I even want to be here? Even though it was super hard, she consulted her doctor, who offered medication as an option. Joanna wasn't opposed to medication, but after blood work showed that she may need to boost vitamin intake, she opted to try prescription-strength vitamins first, in addition to changes in her diet and activity level. Joanna said that her husband, who was sitting next to her during the podcast interview, helped support her physically. At this point, I was eating my kids' leftovers, she said. I just didn't want to make a healthy meal for myself. I didn't really care to eat sometimes. Then Forseth stepped into the kitchen. He was taking care of me, making meals, making sure I got calories in, because she was still breastfeeding Gunnar. Joanna, who admitted that she never loved nursing, said that at 6 months postpartum I decided for my mental health, it's better that I stop. After ending her breastfeeding journey, working out and eating healthier, she said, I saw a huge drastic change. At the same time, Joanna also decided to be honest with others about how she was feeling. She sought guidance from a Christian counselor once a week to sort out questions about her faith. She also bonded with other moms struggling with similar issues. In fact, another mom at church who had struggled with postpartum depression encouraged Joanna to seek help in the first place. Joanna, who wished she reached out for help sooner, said, I was just fighting. Jana Duggar says she thought she'd grow up and have as many kids as possible. I didn't think that there was any other option. Jana, revealing to fans and her presumably disappointed parents what she wouldn't be having. Jana recently opened up about her religious upbringing in the Duggar family and how it once made her believe that married women were required to shoot out as many children as humanly possible. As fans know, the former Counting On star is one of Michelle and Jim Bob Duggar's 19 children. Jana and husband Jeremy are parents to daughters Felicity and Evangeline, and the couple announced last week that they are expecting another baby due in March. While viewers of Counting On and the show's predecessor, 19 Kids and Counting, are likely aware of the Duggar family's belief of married couple forgoing birth control and having as many children as possible, Jana revealed last week that as a child, she never realized she had the option to do things differently. In a clip from the Jana and Jeremy podcast, Jeremy asked Jana if as a child, she thought she'd grow up to have as many kids as possible like her parents did. Without hesitation, Jana replied, yeah, definitely. I think whenever I was super young, I thought that that was just what I was gonna have, she said. If you get married at a young age, then you'll just have as many kids as possible. I didn't think that there was any other option to honor God and to be in that place, she continued. Like if you're married, you're gonna have as many kids as you can until you can't have kids anymore, and so I thought I probably would have a ton of kids. Jana went on to say that it wasn't until she came out of that theology that her mindset changed. Realizing that children are a blessing from the Lord, that is true, and we value children because God does, she said. And just because children are also a gift from God, doesn't mean that we have to have as many as we can. Jana said when it comes to having children, there is also a responsibility for couples to consider what they can handle, while also not feeling pressured by those around them who may have a lot of kids and be doing really great with that. It's like, I don't want to, feel the pressure of having to have that many kids, she said. But then at the same time, it's also just enjoying the children you have, and then seeing like, where would God lead us? Jana isn't the first of her siblings to go against Jim Bob and Michelle's beliefs when it comes to having children. As the Ashley previously told you, Jill Dillard and husband Derek shocked fans back in October 2020 when they revealed that they were using birth control to prevent pregnancy, less than a year after admitting to fans they weren't against doing so. Jill and Derek are parents to sons Israel, Samuel, and Freddie. The couple announced in April that their daughter, Isla Marie, had died in utero when Jill was 4 months pregnant. Like Jinger, Jill also spoke last year about what she was taught growing up in the Duggar home when it came to having children. Growing up, it was ingrained in me that if you don't have as many kids as you're able to, that there's something wrong with that, she stated. But there was a shift in me where I felt like it wasn't wrong if you decided as a couple that it's best for you to wait. Children are a blessing, but that doesn't mean that at all costs, you should have as many kids as possible, Jill added. Watch Jinger and Jeremy's full podcast episode below. It's been a few years since Jana Duggar and her family were regular fixtures of TLC's reality TV lineup, but around the time her older sisters were beginning to get married, the Duggars were at the height of their fame. Unfortunately, that means the girls ended up in some seriously creepy situations. According to Joy, that even included propositions from hundreds of guys that they had never even met. While talking to hosts Matt and Abby Howard on the Unplanned podcast last week, Joy revealed that hundreds of guys had reached out to her dad, Jim Bob, about possibly courting one of the daughters he shared with wife Michelle. I had my keepsake boxes. I had letters in there from when I was like 16 to 17, she said. Joy said that in the letters, the men would declare that they were in love with her or one of her sisters, and sometimes share photos from jail as well. Others would simply ask to be their pen pals. Michelle would read the letters before handing them over to their daughters, and for the most part, the family laughed them off as weird.